Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the new Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, get early access to our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Streamed and Screened, an entertainment podcast about movies and TV from Lee Enterprises. I'm Terry Lipshetz, managing editor of the National Newsroom at Lee, and co-host of the program with Bruce Miller, a longtime entertainment reporter. So long time, you probably remember the first time Ryan Murphy did a show.
I knew Ryan Murphy when he still worked at newspapers. How is that for an old time? But he was very good at paying attention, and he knew the culture, and I think kept that in the back of his head, and has made a lot of things that are of the times. Even all those horror story ones that he does, they'll probably be set in, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 90s, whatever it might be. And he is very big on grasping the looks that people had, the things that were popular, what kind of cool headset did you wear when you were listening to music, or the cars you drove, all of that. He's very aware of pop culture. And somebody else who is aware of pop culture is Bret Easton Ellis. If you remember Less Than Zero or Bright Lights, Big City, or American Psycho, those kind of things. If you read the books, his books all are often like a laundry list of pop culture items. Like, they'd have to be listening to this kind of music, and he'd give you the name, and then he would give you the brands that the people wore, or in his descriptions of things. It would be very vivid if you had lived in that time. Well, put these two guys together and you get a bonanza of all those let's remember this. But then what gives the Shards, which is the name of their new collaboration, it's a mini series or a limited series that's on FX. He throws in the children of people who were big in the 80s as the stars of this. So we've got Cindy Crawford's daughter, Richard Gere's son. There are a number of like that. So it gives you another dimension. And it's set in California, where these rich kids are like 90210,
Right.
Where it's the real 90210ers. And you go, really? Were kids like that? I don't remember the kids being like that, but maybe they were. And these are rich kids. So of course they're kids who have the Porsches, the Mercedes, the BMWs. They're not, driving the beater that gets you to work. But it's fascinating how they have, of course, what would be big during that time period? A serial killer. So there's a serial killer who may or may not be targeting these young people. And they go to school, and the school is kind of preppy. And so, they all have their agendas, and none of these kids live by any rules. There are no parents who say, you are not staying overnight at her house. That is not going to happen. It just happens. So it's a little laissez-faire with all of that. And I'm sure parents today are going, kids, I don't know if you should watch this. But I found it very fascinating, because some things there are that are wrong. Having lived through the period, I know exactly what people were wearing, and I can tell you some of the things are a little off. So that was my big thing. But then there's a character who kind of drifts in and out of the picture, who's very Andy Warhol-like. And this character could or could not be the guy who's causing all the trouble. So it's one that I think will have a great summer tune in. Because when you look back at that time, 90210 had a good first year, but they said, we got to do another one really quickly. And so they did a summer series where they were at the beach, and they were all working out on the beach. Does this ring a bell with you at all? And and they did a summer series that was huge, and that really kind of pushed them out of there, and it became yep. So I think that with this being a summer series that will give you not only what that time looked like, but the
Right.
kids of the people who were making the noise during that time is even better.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, so you've been able to watch most of the episodes, or
I have all of them. I have not watched all of them. I can't tell you who's dead in the end, but
okay.
I'm assuming there's somebody dead in the end. So just let go with that. Um,
Right.
but they do have, yeah, a lot of fascinating things, and it don't pass it by because I think the title is awful. The Shards,
Yeah.
come on,
The Shards.
yeah,
It sounds like something you might get after eating some of this bad lettuce right now, the Shards, right?
right. The bad lettuce is not going to do you any good. But yeah, so I think that it'll land well. And some of the episodes are directed by Max Winkler, who was
Okay.
Henry Winkler's son. So
Okay.
you see where there's the other generation, next generation. Maybe that's what it should be called. 90210, the next generation.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I see Max Minghella from Handmaid's Tale is involved as a director.
And he's a son of, yeah.
Yep. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Fascinating. So definitely one I think I'll check out. You talked briefly about Ryan Murphy and his journalism background, right? So he worked quite a few papers like Washington Post and New York
I
Daily
think he was at
News.
Knoxville too. So that's kind of
Yeah.
his, entry level. But yeah, and
Right.
he one who's like him, if I'm going to put them all in the same, is Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen
Okay.
was who worked his way up by being just an assistant at CBS, and then became like an assistant producer, and
Mm,
became like this big mogul on Bravo. It's a matter of will be willing to do something and then take advantage of the opportunity when it's there.
yeah.
He
Well,
didn't.
there's two others. Yeah, and it was gonna, like Ryan Murphy's just exploded in the last few years, and there's two others that I could think of offhand that have had, I don't know if I say parallel type careers, but maybe set the stage a bit for like a Ryan Murphy or
Sure.
whatever. And it's Cameron Crowe, who started as a
Kid
teenage
writer.
reporter, right, for Rolling Stone, and actually turned it into a movie with Almost Famous. And but you look at his filmography, with Singles and Jerry Maguire and Vanilla Sky and it's just a bunch of them. But the other one was David Simon, who is an investigative reporter for the Baltimore Sun, and his work. I mean, he obviously did or a crime. I can't remember if he's an investigator or a crime reporter, but either way, he was hitting the streets of Baltimore, and it turned into first off working on Homicide, Life on the Street, right? But then probably one of the greatest shows of all time on HBO, which was The Wire, that looked at the issues facing a big city like Baltimore. And then of course he did several other things like Generation Kill, Treme, The Deuce, and then he sort of came back to The Wire indirectly when he did that miniseries We Own the City,
Sure.
which goes back to Baltimore and looks at corruption in the police force. So it's two interesting careers from ex-journalists who went into Hollywood, traded things in, and just have
Well,
really made a tremendous career out of it.
you know what they say, write what you know.
That's right.
See
Right.
this big umpire film that you've got coming?
I do. Oh man, it would be, we just call like We're Yelling at You Blue. That would be
There you go. Yeah.
right.
And then, yeah, I could help you. I'd fill in the spaces of what you need to do. I know nothing about umpiring. I know nothing about baseball. I know nothing about softball, but I could help you fill out those scenes that are going to
There you go.
draw the audience.
Yeah. Would you do a series about a film critic?
No, because I truly that bad animated series called The Critic hit a
Yeah.
lot of the points that I think should be made. I do think there is a movie to be made that they tried and it was just really bad. Junket,
Mm-hmm.
where you could do a movie junket, and how what people don't realize is how they respond when they're asked a question and what that means, and
Yeah.
how it's also organized. They run these people through test questions, and and they have like kind of fallback things that you can say, like, oh, that's a great question, buying you time to come up with an answer that could be decent.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think if you knew what was going on behind that, you wouldn't be so taken with the way, oh my God, he said this. Well, it was planned. They laid the track beforehand that these are the areas that we are going to be talking about, and this is what we want you to hit. So I think there could be a good one. I know that I have enough experiences and enough funny things that happened that I would, yeah, I could do it.
Yeah.
But nobody would want to see it. Nobody would want to buy it. So there you go.
There you go. You would do a movie. How long would that movie be? 3 hours? You would
No,
do the perfect.
it has to be under 90. It's not a good movie unless it's under 90 minutes. But
That's right. That's right. All right. So what do we have coming up in the coming weeks? Anything off?
we have nothing. There's nothing that's going to happen. Actually, what I'm in now, is the fall TV season, because
Yes.
the networks, the real networks as we know them, ABC,
Mhm.
NBC, and CBS and Fox,
Right.
they have shows that will premiere during the fall periods, usually September, October. And those are reeling out now, and they're getting us a chance to look at them. And then we'll do the interviews for all of them. But it's like the old premiere week that used to be such a big thing, and you'd circle the TV guide to make sure that you got the right shows, and oh, I've got to watch this and I got to do that. And now it's kind of like, well, I can get it on streaming if I wait. But so that's what I'm in now. So I'm trying to see, and I don't know that there's anything that hits you where you go, this is Twin Peaks. This is
Right.
another Twin Peaks. There aren't shows like that anymore. They're too safe. And if there is a little edge to them, they're going on Hulu or FX or Netflix, and they'll get bigger money,
Yeah.
and they'll
Yeah.
get bigger names, and they'll get to swear. Swearing is a
Right.
real bad thing for network TV, because they don't allow you to have 4-letter words unless there's a real reason for it. And usually that's only if it was history, and it's where a president might have said a certain word, you could get by using it in a limited or a mini series on network TV, because you were
Yeah.
recreating history. But they're not going to let the teachers on Abbott Elementary suddenly start spouting a lot of 4-letter words.
No. And I think that's not that you need swearing or nudity or anything in shows, but I think there is a certain freedom that comes with producing programming for whether it's HBO or Netflix or whatever, not having the FCC hang over you, at least
Yeah.
gives you some freedom to expand and do things, as you might want to do.
Well, and I do think because of YouTube and all of the other things that kids have access to today, it's not as much a shock. And
Right.
parents are allowing them to listen, and are you able to watch your children what they consume all hours of all days? No, you are
Right.
not.
Right.
And so they're used to it, and they hear worse. You've heard this all the time. They've heard worse on the schoolyard
Exactly.
from the teacher.
Exactly.
No.
That's right.
But so I don't know that language is. I think the hurtful language is more difficult to deal with than just throwing in a 4-letter word.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so a lot coming up.
Yeah, and so
certainly.
that's where I'm. And then we'll get the big fall films. We'll have that, and then the Christmas ones. Dune, you got to get your Dune ready, because it's the end of the trilogy.
That's right. Yep.
We'll see what that popcorn bucket is. Could be good.
That's right. Yep, exactly. So, all right. Well, on that note, thank you again for listening, and we'll be back again next week with another episode of Streamed and Screened.
Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the new Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, get early access to our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.